The coffee was still warm in his hand when the lights died. 1 second. The cafe hummed with conversation, laughter, clinking cups, the hiss of the espresso machine. The next, silence. Total darkness. Not even the glow of a phone screen. He froze. Around him, voices rose in confusion. Someone knocked over a chair. A woman gasped. Then came a sound that changed everything, a low, distant rumble, like thunder rolling across the city. But it wasn't thunder. His phone buzzed once, twice, then went dead. The emergency broadcast system crackled to life on someone's battery-powered radio nearby. The voice was calm, too calm. Attention. A coordinated cyber attack has compromised critical infrastructure. Remain indoors. Await further instructions. The room erupted. He pushed through the crowd toward the door, his heart hammering. Outside, the street was chaos. Traffic lights were dark. Cars sat stalled in intersections, drivers shouting at each other. Above, a helicopter circled, its searchlight sweeping the ground. Something was very wrong. He ran. Across the city, Commander Jack Harris stood on the balcony of the military base, watching smoke rise from the downtown grid. His phone rang. Then another. Then 6 more at once. Sir, we're getting reports of widespread failures. Power, communications, water treatment. I know. Jack cut in, his jaw tight. How many sectors? All of them. Jack's chest tightened. This wasn't random. This was coordinated. Precise. Get me CENTCOM. Now. Behind him, his aide hesitated. Sir, they're asking if we're mobilizing ground forces. Jack turned slowly. What did you say? They want to know, will the U.S. send ground troops? The question hung in the air like a loaded gun. Michelle's fingers flew across the keyboard, her eyes locked on the screen. Lines of code scrolled past, faster than she could read. She was a cyber analyst, one of the best, but this was unlike anything she'd seen. They're inside everything, she muttered. Power grids, hospitals, traffic systems. Can you stop it? Her supervisor barked. I'm trying. But even as she typed, another system went dark. Then another. It was like fighting smoke. Her screen flickered. For a split second, she saw it, a signature, a digital fingerprint buried in the code. Foreign. Hostile. Her blood went cold. They're not just attacking us, she whispered. They're preparing for something bigger. Mike pulled his little sister close as another explosion shook the ground. They were huddled in the basement of their apartment building, surrounded by neighbors who looked just as terrified. Where's Mom? Mia whispered, tears streaming down her face. She's coming, Mike lied. He didn't know where their mother was. The last text he'd gotten from her said she was stuck at the hospital. No power, no way out. Above them, the building groaned. Dust rained from the ceiling. Someone screamed. Mike squeezed Mia tighter. We're going to be okay. But he didn't believe it. Jack stared at the map on the wall. Red dots marked the locations of attacks, dozens of them, spreading like a virus across the region. Cyber strikes, drone swarms, proxy militias hitting soft targets. Sir, we've lost contact with the naval fleet in the Gulf. Jack's stomach dropped. Lost contact? What does that mean? We don't know. Could be jamming. Could be worse. Jack turned to his team. What are our options? Silence. Finally, his second-in-command spoke. We could launch airstrikes, hit their command centers, take out their infrastructure. And if that's not enough, the room went quiet. Jack knew what they were thinking, what everyone was thinking. Will the U.S. send ground troops? Michelle's screen lit up with an urgent message. Her heart sank. They're targeting hospitals. Her supervisor leaned over her shoulder. Can you stop it? Not in time. Across the city, the lights in 3 major hospitals flickered and died. Ventilators stopped. Monitors went dark. Emergency generators kicked in, some of them. Not all. Michelle's hand shook. People were dying. Mike heard the sirens first. Then the shouting. He crept to the basement window and peered out. The street was a war zone. Smoke poured from a building 2 blocks away. People ran in every direction, some carrying children, others clutching whatever they could grab. A man stumbled past, blood streaming from his head. Mike pulled back, his breath coming fast. What's happening? Mia asked. I don't know. But he did. Deep down he knew. This was just the beginning. Jack's phone rang. It was the Pentagon. Commander Harris, we need a recommendation. Do we deploy ground forces? Jack closed his eyes. He thought of his men, young soldiers barely out of training, who would be the first to step onto hostile ground. He thought of the families who would lose sons, daughters, fathers, mothers. Sir, the voice on the phone pressed. Jack opened his eyes. Not yet, he said. We need more intel. If we go in blind, we'll lose everything. Understood. But Commander, time is running out. The line went dead. Jack looked at the map again. The red dots were multiplying. How long could they wait? Michelle's screen flashed red. Another system compromised. This time, it was the water supply. They're poisoning us, she said, her voice hollow. Her supervisor stared at her. What? They're not just shutting things down. They're contaminating the water supply. If people drink it. Stop it. Now. Michelle's fingers moved faster than ever, but she was losing. For every system she secured, 2 more fell. She wanted to scream. Mike heard footsteps on the stairs. Heavy. Boots. He pushed Mia behind him and stood. The door burst open. A soldier stood there, rifle raised, scanning the room. His eyes landed on Mike. You need to evacuate. Now. Where? Mike asked. Anywhere but here. The soldier turned and ran. Mike grabbed Mia's hand. They followed. Outside, the city was burning. Jack's aide burst into the room. Sir, we just got confirmation. Enemy forces are mobilizing ground units. Jack's blood ran cold. Where? Multiple locations. They're preparing for a full-scale invasion. Jack's mind raced. If the enemy sent ground troops first, they would control the narrative. They would control the battlefield. He picked up the phone. Get me the president. Michelle's screen went black. She stared at it, her heart pounding. Then, slowly, a message appeared. You cannot stop us. Michelle's hands trembled. She was out of time. Mike and Mia stumbled through the smoke-filled streets. Around them, buildings collapsed. Cars exploded. People screamed. Mike didn't know where they were going. He just knew they had to keep moving. Then he saw it, a convoy of military vehicles, rolling through the intersection ahead. Soldiers were deploying. Mike's chest tightened. They were sending troops. Jack stood in the command center, staring at the screen. The president's face filled the monitor. Commander Harris, we're out of options. Deploy ground forces. Immediately. Jack felt the weight of the order settle on his shoulders. Yes, Mr. President. He turned to his team. Mobilize the troops. We're going in. The room erupted into motion. But Jack stood still, staring at the map. Will the U.S. send ground troops? The answer was yes. And there was no going back. Michelle watched the news feed on her phone. The headline made her stomach drop. U.S. deploys ground forces. She closed her eyes. This was it. The war had begun. Mike held Mia close as the convoy passed. Soldiers jumped out, weapons ready, moving with purpose. One of them glanced at Mike. Their eyes met. The soldier nodded once, then turned and ran toward the smoke. Mike watched him go. He wondered if the man would ever make it back. Jack boarded the helicopter, his team behind him. Below, the city burned. He thought of his wife, his daughter, the life he might never return to. The helicopter lifted off. Jack looked down at the chaos below, and he wondered, was this the right call? Michelle's screen flickered back to life. She had one chance, one shot to stop the next wave of attacks. Her fingers moved. She typed faster than she ever had. And then success. The system stabilized. But Michelle knew it was temporary. The enemy would be back. Mike and Mia found shelter in an abandoned building. They huddled together, listening to the sounds of war outside. Are we going to be okay? Mia asked. Mike didn't answer. He didn't know. Jack's helicopter touched down in hostile territory. The doors opened. He stepped out into the chaos. Gunfire echoed in the distance. Smoke filled the air. Jack looked at his men. Let's move. They ran. Michelle intercepted a message. Her heart stopped. Enemy reinforcements incoming. ETA 10 minutes. She grabbed her radio. Commander Harris, you need to pull back. Now, Jack heard Michelle's voice crackle through the radio. Pull back. We just got here. Sir, they're sending reinforcements. You're outnumbered. Jack looked at his men. They were already engaged, pinned down by enemy fire. He made a decision. We hold the line. Mike heard the explosions getting closer. He pulled Mia toward the back of the building. We have to go. Now, they ran. Jack's team was surrounded. Bullets tore through the air. One of his men went down. Medic, Jack shouted. But there was no time. The enemy was closing in. Michelle's screen filled with red alerts. Systems were failing again. She was losing. Mike burst through a door and stopped. In front of him, a soldier lay on the ground, bleeding. Their eyes met. Help me, the soldier whispered. Mike hesitated. Then he ran forward. Jack fired his weapon, covering his men as they retreated. One by one, they fell back. But Jack stayed. He wasn't leaving anyone behind. Michelle's hands flew across the keyboard. She was running out of time. Then breakthrough. She found the source. I've got them. Mike dragged the soldier into cover. The man's breath was shallow. Stay with me, Mike said. The soldier's eyes closed. Jack's radio crackled. Commander, we have air support incoming. Jack looked up. In the distance, he saw them. Jets streaking across the sky. Fall back. Now. His men ran. Michelle hit enter. The enemy's systems crashed. She'd done it. But the cost was already too high. Mike watched as medics arrived, taking the soldier away. He didn't know if the man would survive. He looked at Mia. Let's go home. But he didn't know if there was a home to go back to. Jack stood in the rubble, surrounded by his men. They were battered, exhausted. But they were alive. He thought of the question that had haunted him. Will the U.S. send ground troops? The answer had been yes. And now they had to live with it. Michelle stared at her screen. The battle was over. But the war was just beginning. Mike and Mia walked through the ruins of their city. Around them, people were picking up the pieces. Will it ever be the same? Mia asked. Mike looked at the destruction. No, he said quietly. But we'll rebuild. Jack returned to base. He filed his report. He visited the wounded. And he wondered, was it worth it? He didn't have an answer. Michelle received a commendation for her work. But she didn't feel like celebrating. Too many had died. Mike found his mother at the hospital. She was alive. They held each other and cried. Jack stood at the memorial, reading the names of the fallen. He saluted, and he made a promise. Never again. Michelle continued her work, strengthening defenses, preparing for the next attack. Because she knew there would always be a next time. Mike and Mia sat on the steps of their apartment building, watching the sunset. Do you think we're safe now? Mia asked. Mike looked at the horizon. I don't know. But he hoped. Jack received new orders. Another crisis. Another decision. He looked at the map. And he wondered, would they send ground troops again? The answer, he knew, would come soon. Too soon.